Well, good morning. Back here again with my 96 Corvette. A couple of months ago, I was noticing that my air conditioning and heating system was not working correctly. The air wasn't coming on when it should, or I would temporarily lose control of the adjustments. Like if I wanted it to be set on low fan speed, it wouldn't come on at all. If I wanted it set on high, it would come on, but it really wouldn't blow very well. And then all of a sudden, going down the road, it just start blasting. So what I did was I ordered, well, first of all, I diagnosed the problems, went to my service manual, and it told me that it gave me a long list of things to do, right? So me, knowing just enough about these cars to get myself in trouble, that I went ahead and started buying the major components within the system. I knew my air conditioning and my heater core were fine because when I rebuilt my engine, I had both of those items pulled and I had them purged and I had them checked. So they were fine. So I knew I didn't have a problem there. I checked my hoses, they were okay. My air conditioner and my return lines and my heating hoses were replaced when I rebuilt my motor, so they were fine. I didn't have any leaks, so it was specifically with the blower fan. So what I did is the first thing I did is I went in and I bought a resistor. Now this is a resistor right here, and what I'll do is I'll show you where this goes. So when you pull it out, it's going to look like this. Now my car has what's called the C60 manual HVAC system, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. The more advanced option for Corvettes, of the C4 Corvettes, is what's called the C68 climate control system. It's considered an automatic climate control system. It has a digital readout on the control head where mine doesn't. So I replaced this. On inspecting this one, other than the gasket being crushed a little bit, I don't know if you can see that very well, where it probably was over tightened, it really didn't look wrong, bad at all. But I went ahead and swapped it. This is the box that the new system came in, so that's the part number right there. I ordered it online and I got it like 3-4 days. So, and let's show you where that goes. So this is the resistor right here. This is where it mounts. It's on the passenger side, right behind your fill tank, or not your fill tank, but your pressure tank for your radiator. And in here this is the blower, right? This is all one unit. This is where your air conditioning run lines go to. In here, back in here, is your heater core. There's the resistor. There's 3 screws that hold it in place right there, and it comes right out. For the C68, it's located in the same exact location. The difference is that it's on the outside. The exterior, it's going to be just a little bit different in the plug configuration. It'll probably have a set of 4 plugs here and then a 2-plug set here. Or sometimes it'll be one whole boot like this, and you pull it out and it'll be a square plug set. Don't let that deter you. That's the resistor. So I swapped that out. Didn't do any good. So we went to the next problem. So the next thing I did was I purchased a remanufactured control head. Now, like I said, mine's the C60. It's the base. It's the manual one. If your car has the C68 system, the automatic, it's going to have the easiest way you can tell is right around in here somewhere. You're going to have a digital display showing the temperature. If you have that on yours, you have a C68 HVAC system. So there are a few differences. I showed you with the resistors, one of them, nothing big deal. In the back, where they both are located in the same location in the car. In the back, there's 2 plugs, okay, and they pop out pretty easy. And then also on the manual, there's this arm that is a little bit of a pain to get out. So basically what happens is, coming from a vacuum source is a cable that comes through your dash. It comes down and it mounts right here, and then the cable connects right here, right there. Okay, that cable is really stiff. It's going to give you some fits. It's not going to be hard to take off and remove, but it's going to give you some fits putting the new one in. Just be patient with it. This is all plastic, so you know it'll break if you're not careful. So, but just be patient with it, and mount this part first. It's just a holding mount that goes in, that's wrapped around the cable, and that keeps the cable located in one position. And then you can extend the actual cable itself with a connector here, with like what I did was with a real long set of needle nose pliers. So, and then you put that on there, and then you go ahead and finish mounting it into your dash and locking, you know, and of course you've already connected the cables here, the power cord and the control cords. So the new one's in, and again, my system was working intermittently enough that I couldn't tell whether or not that fixed the problem until this weekend, when my fan just stopped working. So I went to the next problem. So the next thing I did was, and I probably should have did this first, but and I'll tell you why in a minute. So the next thing I did is I went to right here. Okay, again, we're back on the passenger side. Okay, resistors over there. Here's the blower housing and blower motor. This relay and this relay were mounted up against, this is for the 96. They're mounted up against the fender or the wheel well. Okay, so one of them is the high side and the other is the low side. I believe that's the high side there and that's the low side. Okay, and then I have to look at my book. I can't remember what that one's for, but anyway, what I did is I pulled these relays, I checked them, I circuit tested them, the leads and everything, and they were fine, but I went ahead and swapped them out. Now, again, this is a 22-year-old car. If I would have done some more digging, I would have probably found a better source, but I was starting to run out of don't be surprised if when you go to a parts store to get a relay for like this car here, they say they don't have any. So you might have to take a couple of trips to different places to try and find the correct relay. So I went ahead and bought new relays, made sure they were the correct ones, and went ahead and popped them in. This is a pretty easy process. The plugs are mounted on the bottom. You pop those plugs out, then these just slide off of their holding bracket, right? They're just on a holding bracket on the fender well, and they just slide right up. So I did that, didn't fix the problem. So now we're on to the next case. So the next case is the blower motor. So the other day when I went to the car show, I got out, started the car up. It was kind of cold that morning. And I got out, pulled my car out of the garage, and I was letting it warm up, and I kicked the HVAC on, and again, I had no fan. So I was like, oh my goodness. So I popped the hood, and I went over here, and I just tapped on the motor, and I noticed the motor started running. Now that tells me two things. either there is a loose connection in this housing, because this is a brushed motor, so either it's corroded and it needs to be maybe a good cleaning. I don't know if I can clean it or not. I don't know if I can open this thing or not, but we're going to find out. It might need a good cleaning and it'll work fine. There might be debris inside where the fan blades itself are, and it just needs to be cleaned out. Or the wires, the power system that connects might have a short in it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get my circuit tester out, or better yet, just my light tester, and I'm going to pull this wire here, and I'm going to test them to see if I get any continuity. So stand by. So I got my circuit tester out, and first thing I did is I connected it to the negative post on the battery on the other side over there. Stretched it over here. This has 2 wires. So there's the black one and a purple one. The purple one's going to be hot. The black one always will be negative. On automobiles anyway. Well, it should be anyway if it's not been bubbled. But so first thing I did is I run it to the negative post on my battery, and then I touched it to the purple side, this side, and I got a light. My light came on in my circuit tester, so I know I have good continuity there. I had a good strong light. Then I switched it over. I put the clamp to the positive side of the battery, and then I connected it on this side, on this lead here, and again, I got the hot. Now you have to do this both with the key in the ignition and turned on to the accessory mode, so turned on but not started. So that way the circuit, and then also you need to have your control head, you need to have it on. So don't have it in the off position, have it in the on position. That way you know that, and what this test is for is to determine whether or not this bad boy right here, the blower motor, is getting any power. So yes, it is getting power. So we'll go to the next step. So it's been a few days, and I ordered a new blower motor kit, and it's come in. So today we're going to go through the process of replacing this thing, blower motor right here. So a couple things got to happen. Got to remove this tire and wheel. I'm going to have to take out, I believe there's 3 of these Torx bit screws here. All right, and then there's some screws here to be able to move this fender well right here. Then I'm going to have to disconnect the power cord, the drain tube from the motor, and I believe there's 5, I think they're 7mm, 5 of these screws here that hold the motor housing with the fan. And I might have to remove this panel here. I don't know. I'll see once I get the tire and stuff off and get this loosened up. We'll see what happens. So let me do that. So I got the tire off, and so far I've removed the condensation hose, the drain hose from the motor housing. It's a hose that removes from right here, and then it connects to another port there, and that's the water drain when you're running your air conditioning. And then I removed all of these. These are Torx head screws here, here, and then did I point to that? Yeah, here, and then these 3 here, and then there was a 10mm here, here, and here, and that's loosened it enough where I can play with removing the motor. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove this panel right here, so that's what I'm doing right now. Just a safety point, there's probably lots of videos. I know there's lots of videos online about jack points for these C4s. I have my jack positioned on a pinch weld, not the point where it says jack here. This is a better, safer option. So look up underneath the vehicle, you'll see the pinch weld. Make sure you're avoiding your lines, you know, fuel lines and brake lines, things of that nature, and then position your jack there. So I'll continue on. So I got the panel, I got the side panel off. There's there's videos that show how to remove these, but essentially what you do is you got a 10mm bolt here. Sorry about that. You got a 10mm bolt here and a 10mm down here that you have to loosen but not remove. It's right there, and you reach it. There's a little gap between the panel and this cover here, and you loosen it up and it'll slide out, right? And then of course we've already taken the Torx screws off, so that removes this panel. So there were 5 screws here. They come out. Undid the power again. I showed you the drain tube, right? And we've got this panel moved. There's flex in it, and so now we can remove the blower motor, maybe. Let's see. Oh, I see what the problem is. Okay, there. Just hang it up. There we go. All right. So there's the motor right there. I'm gonna have to check it out, make sure it's okay. I don't know with the bird cage fan. Either way, I've got a new one. So the new one was like 50 bucks. So I'm pretty sure that right there is my problem. It's the original motor, and they go bad. It's just like any other working part. Let's look inside the air box. Looks pretty clean. I got to get up under there and make sure it's all cleaned out, and if I need to, vacuum it. So that's it. I'll be back. So got the motor in. The screws were, I believe, 7/32. Sometimes they're like, I've seen them like 5mm or 5.5mm. These were 7/32. The only ones that's difficult to get to is that one right there, and that's because of this frame brace here that runs from your frame up to the top of the engine, or the frame sub-assembly. So we got that in, got it all snugged down. The drain tube, it goes right there. There's a port where it connects into, and then it snaps. It basically just, here, I'll pull it out so you can see. So it's basically just friction tight. It's got a little bit of a ring, a groove there, and you just work it in until it pops. So there's that. And then next step is to attach the wires. Let me get it untangled here. So sorry for the shaky camera. I'm trying to do this while filming at the same time, and it's not really wanting to cooperate. So there. So it just pops in, seats. So now we're going to test it before we get all of this right here back together. We're going to test to make sure that fixes the problem. So stand by. So I'd call that pretty good. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and button all this up and start it up, take it for a test drive, run the AC, everything, get the engine up to operating temperature, and make sure I don't have any problems. So it's been a long process, and I learned a lot, trial and error, but it was a good experience. I got to replace the control head inside in my dash, locate and replace the resistor, do some testing on my wiring to make sure that I had continuity, and I replaced some relays and put this motor and new birdcage in. So hey, it worked for me. So this is the original Shep signing off. Y'all have a great day. Bye.